All right, here we go.
That was
Captain Hook. I like that.
It is decided. Do that again.
Captain Hook.
Ready? We're ready? All right, you guys ready? For real?
Is that at the
Are you ready for
door?
real?
I wish you could
No.
hear what's headphones. There's so much other stuff going on.
Yeah,
It's
you
so
miss
much
out on-
fun.
Oh,
Yeah, the squid noises.
You'll get it. You'll get it. Stop. All right, stop. We're going. Ready? 3, 2. You guys ready? Okay. 3, 2.
Are you doing it?
It's coming.
Get ready. That was awesome. Okay, go back.
All right, we're gonna do it again. Stop.
We're back.
I have to switch in order to get it to play from the beginning.
Sure,
It's just
sure.
All right.
Is Jack Johnson our new sound producer?
Welcome to the Wedding Crashers podcast. How's everybody doing? We got Ted here.
What's up?
We got Mike,
Me.
my co-hosts. I'm Tommy, and we got our 2 guests here. You want to introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Renee.
And I'm Julie.
Also known as
Kit+Bug.
Kit+Bug Photography.
Bug and Kit.
Bug and Kit.
.com.
Which one is it? Is it Kit+Bug or
/
Bug and
adventures in
Kit and
kitandbug.com.
Kit and Bug?
Kind of sounds like
Hashtag.
Kit+Bug. But
If you Google bug and kit, you get bug kits.
yeah, like literally, like you can catch a bug.
And that's not the business you're in.
No.
Wow,
We gave that
that
up a while
actually
ago.
makes a significant amount of sense.
You
I
may be
would
on the
not
wrong
have
podcast.
caught that.
Yes.
That's that's a herpetological society.
I
that's
had
not-
those when I was
that's
a
not the
kid.
right-
They're fun.
Yeah,
Insectology.
Yeah, good time.
Fantastic.
I used to burn them with magnifying glasses. So
Yikes!
So, you know.
Wow, this
So
is now a
weird,
show
man.
about sociopaths.
Yes, it's
Welcome.
Capture and murder.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's the normal progression.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourselves? What do you guys do?
We take photos.
You take photos of weddings, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Like each of you by yourselves or individually or together? Or?
Well, we do everything together pretty much. We are a couple, a lesbian couple, and we started this company together when we were just dating. We're engaged now. We're getting married soon. Yep, flagships actually are videographers.
Who's
coming
that?
Up in
Who's
June.
flagship?
I don't know,
Who are
some
they?
weirdos.
That's Mike and I.
I don't.
That's awesome.
And
We're super excited for that. I don't know if you guys know that, but we are insanely excited. So it's going to be awesome.
I'm glad because
It's-
it's going to be a ridiculous wedding.
It's not often that we get to film weddings of people in our own industry, so it makes it 1,000 times better because we're going to pull out all the stops creatively, and you guys are going to give us the time to do that, right? No, I'm just kidding. Kidding.
Nope,
It's going to
not
be
at all.
not at all. Literally no timeline for photos and videos.
We got
That's funny. That's awesome. So working together as a couple, what's that like? I mean, you started out that way, so I feel like it makes it easier because that's what you're used to, right?
Well, yeah, we had no idea what the hell we were doing.
Right.
So we started
Still
out
or before?
pretty much still, but
Fake it till you make it.
we started. I don't know. We just decided like we wanted to start this business. I am a graphic designer. She wanted to be a photographer. So we decided to start a business called Snap Photography and Design, and we had cameras and we took pictures to surfers and sold canvases. And somebody asked us one day, "Oh, do you shoot weddings?" And we said no.
You didn't
Now I
say
do.
hashtag bitch I might.
Yeah, pretty much.
Probably
yes,
should have.
yeah. And then so we ended up shooting our first wedding. It was terrifying. We did it for $375 for
It was
14
awful.
hours.
Wow.
It was it was
You
scary.
got $375 more dollars than we got. So
Right.
There,
Right.
yeah.
For the first 3 weddings.
We had it was we
awesome.
might as well have gotten nothing. I'm surprised that
Yeah.
we
14 hours is a long time.
No. Yeah,
That's awesome.
We weren't sure we ever wanted to do it again.
Wow.
And so that was 2016.
what are you doing over there?
I just looked up the hashtag you mentioned. It's real.
Bitch, I might.
Just to recap, I said hashtag bitch I might, and Ted looked it up.
1,300 some posts. That's
I thought we were losing
Welcome to
Ted.
the-
Like, he's
There
over
might be
there.
more.
Welcome to the brain of a homeschooler. There we go.
I'm still with us.
All right, so that's awesome. So you legitimately started together. So you didn't do photography beforehand, before meeting each other, or any of that kind of stuff. You were a graphic designer, which deals, I'm sure, at least some part in Photoshop and things like that, right?
Yeah, it's actually when you go to school for graphic design, they make you take photography classes.
Right.
And so I was already versed in how to shoot in manual and,
Press a button.
press a button.
Wait, what's manual?
What even is that?
I use
Where?
P for pro.
auto mode, A for all star.
I can say for me, my first few shoots, and I'm pretty sure our first few weddings, we shot in auto.
Oh, aperture priority.
Oh yeah, that's right. Aperture priority.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. No, it was terrible. It's
Yeah.
terrible. What are blown out highlights? What even is that? No, yeah, it's that's pretty cool. That's cool. So you at least knew a little bit going into it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What about you?
I knew nothing.
Nothing. So you're like Ted.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I'm being facetious. That's awesome. So you had no idea nothing about photography. You just said I want to be a photographer.
Well, I used to like playing with cameras. I didn't learn manual mode until mid 2015.
Okay.
We did our first wedding. The end of 2015.
So that was
2016.
you learned it at the wedding
2016,
or
I
just
don't know.
before?
Before. Well, I was going to school for
slightly
it.
before. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Oh, so you went to school for photography?
Kind of.
Okay. Kind of.
I didn't
You
finish.
went to class, right? Oh, I get that. I was a jazz studies major one time. That was cool. Yay!
studies.
There's a lot of jokes that go with that. But yeah, that happened.
I'd
there
love
was
to
no
hear some of
completion.
those.
What
There's
did you
no
guys
completion.
do for work before you decided to do all this?
I was a youngin. I didn't really work.
Okay. Oh, what?
A youngin?
Oh, I get it. It's like the sands of time are just flowing backwards. I can feel it.
Tell us
almost.
about that.
That's amazing. A youngin. Okay, so you got a pretty young start in the industry then, and
Yeah.
and you went right into it. That's cool. We're being,
Yeah,
remember how I
she's-
said we were in a subterranean layer in one episode?
It was true.
It's a fact. It's a fact.
Yes.
Just east of the Mississippi. Mississippi.
Mippis.
Welcome to Mississippi. All right, stop. Rein it in, everybody.
Everybody,
Renee,
put your
what
game face
about
back
you?
on.
All right. Well, yeah. So just she's 11 years younger than me. I robbed the cradle a little bit there, but so I was a graphic designer before
Right.
this.
Like,
so
gonna
that
spit
was
out his water.
like that.
I'm good. Don't worry.
As long as you weren't 13 when you met, you're all right.
Yes. No. We're okay there. I stayed
made her
away
two.
when she was in diapers. We're fine.
Right, because then you would
So-
actually be a legitimate
A
cradle robber.
legitimate,
You hear that?
And we
She
might have
waited
to
for you.
alert the authorities.
Yes. No. We're okay. I waited.
That's fantastic. Awesome.
Said she
Yikes.
waited for
All
you.
right, here we are,
Yes.
folks.
This took a weird turn.
All right, cool.
It's always expected with us.
So surfing photography, that's an interesting and vastly different industry than what we do. I mean, I often think of that. I kind of put that with like editorial photography. How do you make money doing it?
You don't.
Precisely.
You don't. Okay,
I don't.
cool. All right, so you don't have the answer. That's
You
all right.
shoot weddings.
You shoot weddings.
Shoot weddings.
That makes sense. I'm sure there's a way. I know for a fact that there are people who shoot editorial, fashion photography, and stuff like that, and make a great living. I just don't understand how, because I've just never looked into that market.
That's when I met you guys in the work.
I was about to bring that up. Yeah,
What's
working
that?
on a surf project.
Yeah, actually, that is funny.
Yeah.
That's super
Yeah.
weird. So, weird flashback for us and our brains. That forget
Flashback
things.
Friday, even though this is
That
probably
was fun.
Tuesday.
I
Brought
met-
to you by the Illuminati.
Right. I used to have a soundbite
I'm
for
just
that.
kidding.
Now
Oh,
my-
that's when you had the Ronin.
right. So two things from that story. Or I guess three. The first place Mike and I met Ted was in an Apple store. Actually, I just
No,
met
you
Ted.
met him. I was in there.
And I said, hey, let's do a wedding together. And he wasn't available, so he shot with some other people. And then the next project I called him on was a friend of ours is a professional skim boarder, SKIM,
Okay.
not N. That's a different thing. And she was one of the few females in the World Championship skimboarding competition and all kinds of cool stuff. She's super awesome. And Ted came and did some photos while we did a video for her. I think that was the first project we ever worked together.
Yeah,
We're best
That was
friends.
deep.
It definitely was.
Best friends
Free best
forever.
friends and Ted. That what? There's anyway.
Oh, I met your sister-in-law there too. She's cool.
Yeah.
She
She's there.
does
She was there.
makeup.
Absolutely, she does makeup. That's
She was
fantastic.
there.
She was there. That's a fact. She did the makeup and left. That's cool. My sister-in-law is a makeup artist. Now we know that. That's something that we can't take back. Cool. All right. No, I just don't know how that came out, but I guess it's from that project. And then the one other piece is respect your gear, people. Mike
yeah.
decided it was a great idea to take a Ronin M. It was a DJI Ronin gimbal.
S is the one that just came out.
Yeah, M, and it's pretty expensive. And Mike decided I'm gonna challenge my gear and threw it into the sand in the beach.
The sand one.
And if you know anything about gimbals, they don't like sand in their gears.
Listen, it said it was rugged and it was meant for outdoor shoots.
Listen, I say I'm rugged. What does that really tell you?
Your picture
Come on,
profile
honey, I
doesn't match
promise I'm
real
rugged.
life.
yeah.
All
Lies.
right, rein it in.
You know, we also never mind. We're not going to talk about this.
What? Go ahead.
I think we ran through the surf with it too a couple
We did.
times.
We did. That happened.
But you know what?
Climbed rocks and fun
Pretty
stuff.
sick shots.
They did look amazing. Surprised we didn't destroy a camera. We almost lost a GoPro that day. But anyway, back to surf photography and you guys. So that transition was someone just asked you, and you said that after shooting that one, you really didn't think you wanted to do it again.
No, but we had already committed to 2 others at that point.
Oh wow! So was that from like referrals, or what was that from?
Yeah, it was from
Yeah.
referrals.
From that wedding?
From that wedding.
That's
Wow.
awesome, though.
That's great.
Yeah, people heard cheap and they were like, "Sign me
Oh,
up."
stop.
Awesome.
That's not true.
No, they heard.
No,
they heard.
100% true.
They heard.
He's like, no, I
oh,
still,
snap.
I
And they
still
were
have the
like,
thank you card, and that's what it says.
Yep.
And-
Right.
No,
Right.
that's-
It's thank you. You were adequate and cheap.
Yes.
Fantastic.
You took pictures.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
That's awesome. We've been there. I think everybody's been there. That's cool. So working with your spouse. I think I may have said this a couple minutes ago, but I mean, are there challenges there, or is it always
Ooh, we're just diving right
unicorns
into
and
it.
rainbows? I mean, let's get into the shit.
Fist fights coming.
I mean, we do fart rainbows often, but
That's fantastic.
it definitely has its challenge. It has its perks. It really does.
Yeah.
Like, compared to, because a lot of photographers, as you know, they do have to hire second shooters. And even though, you have your core group, I'm sure, and I do know some people have their regular go-to people, we always have each other. We always have the same workflow. We have this, it's not a main shooter and a second shooter. We're both pretty much main shooters, and we don't even have to speak like to each other when we're working. Like, we already know what each other is thinking. We like, the second we get a creative idea, it's just like, I get, you got it, go get it. Like, I'm supporting whatever
That
you're
sounds
doing right now.
familiar to me. You got it, go get it. Is very similar to when you leave, you gotta go, and when you go,
you gotta get.
leave.
I have a question. What do you guys think is one of the things you do really, really well that other people might be too afraid to do or don't want to do in their business to make them successful?
They make a mean chicken pot pie.
It's mean
No, go ahead.
and angry.
It's
Got carbs.
It's a tough question.
I mean, we're really ourselves with clients, and
There.
This just got meta as fuck.
What does that mean? I was gonna say that from like the outside looking in. It's your guys, the way you interact with people is
Right.
amazing.
yeah, like, we don't try to be business people.
You know what is? There's something
We-
true in that. Maybe not that. Don't try to be business people or whatever.
What?
So many times you'll read on Facebook and in these groups where people will talk about like, let's say someone will say, I think a good example was the emojis. Do you use emojis when you're talking to clients? And there'll be certain people that are like, no, I don't know them enough yet. And it's almost like they act the way they want the client to think they are. Whereas us, like we were just talking about our bridal show story, which is, we'll tell you that at a different time. We just act the way we are. And you either love us and book us or you don't. And we're going to book someone cool anyway. So
I think
it's
there's
like,
something about that
Yeah.
honesty and that comes across, like just saying like, hey, this is me, and you're either my client or you aren't. That when it comes across, you get like, I'll tell you, with Flagship, we've never had a bad client,
Right.
and I'm like, I went out and second shot for a few other people or took some freelancing gigs, and I'm like, man, I feel like Mike's been like shielding me from bad clients because we get these amazing people, and it's because and this, it may be because, I won't say 100% certainty, it may be because we're straight up. I mean, this is like how we act. Like, I'm gonna if I'm second shooting and I'm with Mike and I'm with the groomsmen or whatever, I'm gonna be messing with the groomsmen. I'm gonna make fun. I'm gonna ridicule your bridal party, and they're gonna laugh and they're gonna have an awesome time and everybody's gonna be relaxed and it's gonna be great because that's how I am and that's how I'm gonna be at the client meetings. That's how I'm gonna be at the bridal shows. That's just how we are.
We're bad at the bridal shows.
We're
but
terrible.
But it's such a good response.
It
like
is.
It works. It works for us.
Honestly, we've had people where I've said, "Do you have photo and video?" And they go, "Yeah," and I think they're just blowing me off. I'm like, "Cool, scram." And then like within 3 seconds, they're like, "Oh, wait, let me get your card." Like they come back and say, they're like, "All right, hold on a second, that was funny," or it's unique, it sticks out to them, right? And if you can, like, there's something about that comes across. They're like, "Nah, these people are who I want with me on my day," and I think you guys put that across. Just being yourselves rather than like Mike was saying, having that. Should I use emojis in the emails? Like,
yeah, and it's not a bad thing. I think it's just that's the way you run your business,
right?
Like some people like to be polished, like Ted. Ted's fake.
Yikes.
That's not true.
Offense.
I don't think anybody would call Ted polished.
I'm kidding.
Maybe polished.
What?
I'm definitely not polished. You should see my truck or
Yikes.
my van.
See, he's already lying about the car he drives. We don't even know.
Well, the truck broke down. And now I'm driving the van, and it's I cleaned it once this year.
Sure, got a story.
Ted's book. My truck broke down. Now a van. How to be good at business.
It's out on Amazon today.
What is
folks.
some feedback that your clients have given you after the wedding? Because I've always found for my weddings, like I get bookings and I talk to people and they book me, but they don't really find out how well we get together and how well we work together until after the wedding. They're like, "Oh, you were so great. Like you were so easy to work with." Like, what do they tell you guys after the wedding?
So something that we try to like, one of the things we try to sell like us on, like, because we use our personalities. That's like our brand, I guess. Is that we're fun and easy to work with, and we like to be able to have clients come back and say exactly that. So because of we're kind of like, we're easygoing. So having that, I just lost my train of thought.
Well, basically, we keep things personal with the clients kind of the whole time. Like we pop in here and there, and like just like I'll even just send little messages, and I don't do anything automated. The feedback that I get from people all the time is they get automated things from photographers all the time, and they hate it. They said it's so impersonal. And the feedback I always get is they love our messages because they're like, it's a person.
So it's like something we talked about last episode being high touch or low touch. It seems like it's a very high touch experience where you're really connecting. And when you say you pop in and stuff, that you're talking about over the whole booking experience prior to the wedding, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's cool. So
Yeah.
you're popping in to just check in and say like, "Hey, is there anything you need to know?" Any of that kind of stuff.
We
Cool.
help with the timeline. We just help get like an idea of the vision. I mean, without like sacrificing too much of our own time, but making them feel. And usually afterwards, they always say, and they get a good feel for our personalities beforehand. We love to try to push the engagement sessions if we can, and we do include them in most packages so we can get comfortable.
Right.
Yeah, for
We
sure.
always encourage the in-person meetings.
So is that a big benefit you would say of an engagement session is getting to work with the person ahead of time? Because I feel like with video, it's kind of hard because we don't really do engagement sessions like that. Right. It's like a lot of times it's like we get there, we shoot on the day, and it's like, oh man, I wish we could have worked together a little more. Like this was great. You know what I mean? Is that something that you get out of that?
Yes.
All right, cool.
It makes everybody more comfortable too. Even on the day of the wedding, like if you know each other, even whether it be like FaceTime or a phone call, even better if it's an engagement session, knowing each other a little bit better makes the day flow easier.
Okay.
Yeah, and there is nothing worse than walking in the room and being like, "Okay, who's the bride?"
Yeah.
Like it's just not fun.
You know
Like,
what's worse is I feel like it's not as hard to pick out the bride though. The groom is always damn hard.
Yeah. That happens a lot. Though.
All the
So
time, I'm
similar.
like, which one's the groom? I had a wedding, actually, one of our last weddings last year. I walk in the room, I'm like, "Hey, who's the groom?" And they're like, "Oh, it's this guy over here." I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" I turn around, I turn back, and they all looked alike. So I'm like, "Oh my god."
Put your ties on,
Who was
please.
that? So I waited for the photographer to get there, who was one of our buddies, and I'm like, "Dude, ask who the groom is." Like, come on, point him out. He's like, "I don't know," and we ended up figuring it out, but.
Oh, or the ones where there's a twin.
What if we didn't
Oh,
figure it out?
yeah.
Oh, that's
Oh,
so
God.
hard. Like, which one's the white tie?
damn it, twins! Just another reason you're a burden on society.
Wait, back up though. You should have your sound effects for that. Rewind. We're going back. The email thing. I have so many people that message me about like, because we do emails really well as far as like booking and stuff like that over emails. Having the email not look automated is something that's huge. Our emails are so short and personal that like I feel like that's one of the things that cuts through the noise.
So it's funny. We have a my boudoir photography business, which I run with my wife.
And if I could say it again,
if I can say it one more time,
you get it?
say
now?
no, I don't,
You do.
I don't
I
get it.
explained it to you.
Right. So actually, from working with Flagship and things like that, I've looked at our emails and said like, yeah, they were way too long. So Mike and I worked together, and he helped kind of mentor me to cut them down and get them to where they need to be. And there, for me personally, it felt a little different. I was like, I feel like I need more information, and it's one of the struggles. Not to go outside of the topic here, but as a male boudoir photographer, I feel like I need to stress that my wife is a major part of the business. That it's a comfortable situation, and I feel like that's a lot to do with some other people ruined the industry for the rest of us in that specific genre. There's a lot of people who are not where they should be professionally as far as interacting with clients and things like that, and people who want to take advantage of people who are in that industry. So for a guy like me, it's important for me to get across this is a team effort. So as far as being in a relationship and owning a business together, my wife and I do that. She runs the whole sales and management and all the studio piece of it, and I'm just the photographer. I just press the button. But I have a letter attached to my email. So the email is short and it seems very personal, and I just say, hey, I've attached our welcome letter. So if you feel like something's off to you, you're like the short email thing, it seems personal but it's not working, this is just kind of like a note for other people. You know, you can add in an attachment with general information, make it a nice visual information sheet that gets the stuff around. What do they call them? Infographics, right? As a graphic designer, it's probably easy for you, right? Just go infographic attached as a PDF and say like, here's a personal email with some more information attached on the back end.
There's nothing cooler than their pricing package that they made. That is like, it's amazing. It's amazing.
I need to see it.
Thank
Well,
you.
yeah, that email thing is right. You have to dial it in for like,
Right.
you know.
And it's going to be different for everybody, right,
I
Ted?
don't know what this means, but this means something.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. Like, it's funny you said that, and Mike has seen what we have, and it's being a graphic designer, I get to do a lot of
It's
our
so
own stuff.
cool.
Oh, I'm tapping the table. But yes, I have our own like a very fancy pricing guide, and I also do have some other informative.
Yeah.
Oh, you
things.
fancy.
So,
you
yeah.
got to help me out with that then.
It's so
Yeah,
cool.
She's not
it's
gonna
A
help
couple
you.
questions. So one follow-up question. So do you guys ever shoot separate weddings without each other, like 2 weddings within one day?
Not yet. We haven't, because like I was saying before, like we sell people on us rather than, I mean, obviously our work matters too, but people like us for our personalities and our chemistry. So if we split up, if we're working with somebody else, it may not be the same vibe. So
Right.
Have you found that like when you're communicating that to clients that they have given a sigh of relief, like, oh, there's always going to be both of you? Great. Like, have they ever said that, or like?
We actually, it's funny you asked this question. We are setting ourselves up this year to possibly do our first time separate.
Okay.
And because I actually spoke to a photographer we work with often, and he gave us advice on this. And I have set it up. We booked one wedding so far where I did mention that I gave her the choice of having myself or Julie as the lead. And she chose me just because we've been speaking. And I said, okay.
That's not right.
I know. I said, whatever, you made the right choice.
You said it's going to be your first time doing that year, which is really exciting because Ted's hoping to have his first time this year.
But it's
all right, cool. That's
it's,
awesome.
It's
That was a sex
interesting. So it's but I told her, so like as an add-on bonus, because it's like, so if we don't end up getting, you'll have both of us, and she's like, oh, that would be awesome. So she seems excited at the thought of having us both. But the opportunity, it's a test run. I really think we're better off keeping the two of us as a team and looking for other, as Mike said the other day, avenues of revenue or something like that. We were talking about it.
That was going to be my next question. Like, what do you think is the next step for you guys? Like, what are you working towards to either better yourselves or to grow the business?
Currently, we actually just added a photo booth to our lineup that we actually just sold it. We just did our first pitch, and we sold it on the first pitch to the first couple.
That's awesome.
Eventually,
and
we want to get into in-person sales as well.
Okay.
yes, we
All
do.
right, so
We have a couple shows coming up on that.
speaking of in-person sales, for anybody who doesn't know, there's a business model called IPS, and to make it very simple and clear cut, there's usually IPS and shoot and burn, right? Shoot and burn is more take pictures and they get all the digitals, and that's your package pricing, which can be a
What are
very
digitals?
successful business model. Or you can have IPS, which is you basically. Again, on the basic explanation, a lot of your sales depend on the back end. So a lot of your profit is coming from selling albums and prints and all those kind of things. Where up front you're really doing like, hey, here's just to shoot, and then what's coming further is that post sale makes up a larger part of your profit.
Just to be clear, how basic was that?
That was super basic,
Okay.
because I'm sure there's people who will jump all over my shit to say that's not how you do IPS.
But so
There's a million ways to do that, and there is only one way to skin a cat. I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
But for their boudoir studio, you guys do IPS and do it really well.
Yeah, so we actually did. I used to be shoot and burn, and I was having a tough time selling with photography, and that's when I kind of brought my wife in. She was doing a little bit with the boudoir business, and I said like, hey, listen, I want your input. I want to see what you do, because I think I had her talk to a client once, and it went really well. And she's like, I got this. And she revamped our whole thing, took us IPS, which as a non-photographer, somebody to just like kind of pick up that business model is kind of hard to understand, because I feel like as photographers we see the value in the canvas and the prints and all that kind of stuff. So for somebody outside of there, my problem was, and Mike has said this, and a couple other people have said this too, I was having a hard time seeing value in my own work. I'm very hard on myself, and that's okay. I like that. I'm fine being that way. I see flaws in all of my work, but giving it to somebody who really loved it and said like, this is amazing and I want to sell this, she saw the value in it, took it to IPS and really started selling that way. It took us from $300 profit per shoot to on average over $1,100 per shoot, and that's for like a 2-hour shoot. So like, I'm proud of those numbers. It's not close to where some people are at. I mean, it's very high, but for what we do and the amount of work we put in, I'm very happy with that. And it worked for us. Now, something I do differently, some people will tell you this is a hell no in IPS, is I give the digitals with every print. So if you pick these 30 pictures for your album, you're getting 30 high-res digitals with all of them, because you already printed them. You're probably not going to print with me again. Yeah. Some people go, nope, you want the digitals, you got to buy this, and this, and it's $500 extra for the digitals. That's an awesome business model if you can sell it.
How dare you?
Well, like you said, there's several different ways to do it.
Right, and that's kind of what I was saying on that basic side to not get into this, but there's a million ways to do it, and it can be insanely profitable. There are people out there who do a session with no images, which is what we do, and then digital packages start at like $3,000 just for digitals, not for prints, right? Awesome. If you can do that, that's sick. Like that's IPS with just digitals. Like that's great. It doesn't work in my head, so I have a hard time promoting it. Right? So it's interesting.
There is something about someone else selling your stuff. For example, at bridal shows, we do this all the time where we kill it selling Ted's photo packages, and he does the opposite, has a better time selling our video packages.
Yep.
And like, I don't know why we do it, but it happens, and it's just awesome.
And Ted, you can tell them what we did this time. It was something a little different.
Oh yeah. So we had a cool idea. Have you guys ever done a bridal show?
Wait, is it
Not
the
yet.
puppy idea? Don't tell me.
Don't tell them the puppy idea.
No, like I
wanna
actually
know the
stole this
puppy
from
idea.
another friend
I
of
was
ours.
gonna say, plug who you stole it from.
A guy named Nick Marina, super cool dude.
I just shot with him the other day. He's fantastic. Awesome.
But he did this last year at the bridal show, and I said, dude, that's a great idea. So we did it this year. I had a bride and groom of mine from July. They're friends of mine as well, but they're great clients. We had a phenomenal wedding. It poured rain, but we had a great time anyway. They came to the bridal show dressed up in her wedding dress, his tuxedo, hair and makeup, the whole thing, like exactly the way she was on her wedding day. And they hung out in the bridal booth with us, like, and just said hello to people. Noelle was the bride. She was so good at like saying hello to people, asking them, congratulations on their wedding first, and then saying, hey, you guys have photo and video yet? And she would talk us up and show the people photos from her wedding on the iPad. It was really phenomenal. A lot of people just come over to see her in her dress because it's, a dress full of a whole bunch of other booths.
A dress
and
full
stuff.
of dress.
What was the
Well,
dress
like,
full of?
What's
Dad?
the dress full of, Ted?
Tell us.
Convention
Tell
was
us.
full of a ton of
Tell
other
us.
things, and people saw the dress like, oh, what do they do over here? Some people thought we just sold dresses, but when they came
Nobody-
over and saw the
nobody
photo
thought
and
that.
video, then they would talk to her and talk with us and build some good relationships.
So
So it
real-
worked really well.
Real quick, when Ted told me this idea at first of having a bridegroom, there I was like, "That's a great idea. That's gonna be awesome." And he told me he got it from Nick Marina again. Awesome. And then he told me he's like, "I'm gonna have her wear her wedding dress," and I was like, "That's the dumbest fucking thing I have ever heard in my life. Don't do that. It's gonna be awkward as shit. It's just gonna be this girl standing there in her wedding dress." I was dead wrong. I will fully admit that. It was a pull, and they were, first of all, probably one of the most attractive couples I've ever seen. Like, just as far as their personalities, they just pulled people in. Someone would look over and be like, "Oh, that's a really pretty dress," and then she'd be like, "Hey, how's it going? You want to see some wedding pictures?" And they were like, "Yeah." And she'd be like, "See that canvas back there? That's me. How awesome is that?" And you're like, "Dude, that's so cool." And I mean, in order to do this, you may be able to do it outside of this way, but they're spending their time. They came for 2 whole days at the Philadelphia Bridal Expo.
Bridal show.
I mean, it's like 8 hours a day at least. 6 hours, something like that. All right.
Yeah.
Well, 8 hours a day.
That's
that
still
you're-
long.
I say
for
8 hours a day
bridal
that
show.
you're there by the time you set up
Driving
and leave.
stuff, yeah.
So you throw them a couple bucks, right? And
Literally just 2, and you
just
throw.
literally
You don't
$2,
hand them.
and then
you throw.
you run away, and that's not even for parking. No, but I mean, like I said, you paid them, right? You threw them an incentive. You paid them to be there.
Paid them to be there,
Right,
yeah.
and that's you think of it. People are like, "Oh, if you pay them there, that's cheating because you're just paying them to talk good about you." No, first of all, you're not going to pay a client that you pissed off to come do it. They're not going to do it.
Yeah.
But you throw money, and you're paying for marketing. You're paying for advertising. That's what it is. And would you say that the investment paid off?
Oh yeah, we booked a lot off that already.
Oh my god, it was
That
insane.
great.
It was insane.
Which is funny because you hear so much trash about bridal shows, yet they're awesome for
Yeah.
us.
We've been killing it.
Well, and I've found too when I go do a bridal show by myself, I have a lot less results than I'm going with you guys because we goof off a lot.
Yeah.
And they see who you associate yourself with, and they see like, oh, it's not just his off-putting personality; it's really these 2 great guys that he's with. It might make it an
Those
okay
video guys
day.
were awesome. That photo guy, I don't know.
Wow.
I guess if we have to get him too, no, I'm kidding. No, it's a package, right? And I say this all the time, like especially for you guys. Have you done any bridal shows?
No, not yet.
No, I
So-
actually messaged them right after Philly, and we talked about it. I was like, "You got to be here. This is
Yeah.
amazing."
So I think is funny is the way you market and the way we market is our personalities. Like that's a big piece for us, and it seems like a big piece for you guys. And like I think that's the key to bridal shows. I think a lot of people have bad experience with it because a lot of creatives are introverts. A lot of creatives don't like to talk to people, and it just kind of comes with the territory. If you have an awesome personality, do bridal shows.
But-
you will not regret it, and Ted will refund your money if you don't have success.
that's not true.
Not true.
You know what?
We're gonna hold you to that.
People, why I sound so loud? I'm not yelling. So one thing we do at bridal shows, and I know we have a bridal show coming up where we're going to talk about this more. People often think like you're either introverted or you're selling. We don't sell at all at bridal shows. We're just there to hang out, have fun with you. That's it.
We bring Nintendo or
Yeah.
Sega.
No one played this year. Not
No,
cool,
that's
guys. Not cool.
We almost
I
ran
will
out of candy
say,
again.
one
Yeah.
guy came up and we said like, hey, we have Nintendo, we have Mario Kart on. He's like, do you have Pokemon? I'm like, nah, I don't even want you to play. Get out of here. Scram.
But we
Don't
did.
be picky. But we did have Pokemon.
We have fun though. We
Yeah, it's
goof
just
off
about
a
having
lot
fun.
And our personalities are seen, and that's what people mention every single time they book was our personalities. You know, they say the photos are great, the videos are great, but we booked because of this.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Right.
Um,
What do you think is the most crucial marketing for you guys? Marketing that way, if that's your strategy, is to talk about your personalities. What's the best piece that you've invested in or done to get bookings based on that? So it could be referrals, could be commercials, could be like what do you rely on mostly for booking?
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a good source. I love that one too.
Billboards.
Definitely billboards.
Whacking, waving,
The
inflatable arm
corner,
man.
I don't know. Wacky.
Wacky waving inflatable arm.
Those
Those
banners
are my
that fly
favorite.
behind the airplanes on the beach.
Somebody does that, and I'm sure it's effective for them.
Wait,
Probably.
really?
No, I don't know.
Oh, I was gonna say
Need a
that's,
wedding photographer.
No, but seriously,
what's that? There's that Paul
so-
Rudd movie where the guy Marcus he puts his face
I
on the.
love you,
They
man.
had to pay for like a fourth one or something with like one word on it.
No. Was it? It's like he called them like the toilet cakes or whatever.
It's,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
I love you,
that's-
man, and
that's
it's
I Love You, Man.
urinal cakes.
yeah, it was funny. Okay.
The
All right.
realtor.
So
So, none of
what
those, no
is
urinal
what
cakes
is something
or-
that you guys a strategy you use to leverage that piece for you guys to say, okay, it's our personality, so we're gonna make sure we market this way or we advertise this way.
Excuse you. You know what's funny is I realized we didn't even touch on the whole flip last year.
There's a flip?
There's a whole flip.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's
if you
more.
don't
What's the
recall,
flip?
We started as Oh Snap.
Oh,
yeah,
we
yeah.
didn't talk about that.
We did
Yeah.
left it off. I did hear you say "Oh snap," and I figured
We
you just
were.
changed
There
it. So
is
what's the flip?
someone
Oh,
drawing
snap.
yarn
I remember
lines
that.
on
Yeah.
their wall right now, trying to connect the dots, and you're about to do it for
What are
them.
we talking to?
Conspiracy theory. Here it comes.
Sorry.
Okay, go back, guys. Let's set the
Because I don't want it
stage.
in
No
that year.
fighting.
Back in the day, it was a Tuesday, and they had
and
just
by
created
the way,
Oh Snap.
I'm sure you guys have it too, but like on wedding days, we're ridiculous here, like a dynamic duo, and
Yep.
I'm sure you're the same
what do you
way.
mean?
Like what?
What do you
Mike,
mean?
ridiculous? Never.
Like we just clients laugh at
Just
us
dick,
like
never
all
dick.
day because we just like bicker over the stupidest things, but like in a funny way.
Right.
Like I just go away, you freaking idiot. Just like like
Hey.
It's funny.
yeah, and she'll act like that.
It's funny. I think that
And I'll
has
pet her
that-
face.
That goes with your personality too, because and I think it's almost an individual thing because Mike and I are like that. But also, someone we're gonna have on the next show, my friend Jen, who's our makeup artist for Sweet and Sultry Boudoir. It's probably within 30 minutes or less of the session starting that one of us has told the other one to go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
And the client's laughing. And, I mean, you got to feel the client out, but like it's usually relaxing. And that's kind of like what Mike and I do on wedding days when we're messing with the groomsmen or making horrible jokes or telling each other to F off. It's usually to relax the client, and it works like a charm every
Yep.
time.
Yeah.
And if it
Relaxes
doesn't,
everybody.
you're not my client.
Do the rewind sound?
Back in the day, it was a Tuesday. They were Oh Snap.
So we were Oh Snap, and so like I said, we did those few weddings. It was terrifying, and we came to realize like we can't learn this off the internet. We can't just learn wedding photography
Right.
from this. I'm like, because this is not working. But we want to make money off of this. I'm actually kind of enjoying it. We said we never wanted to do it, but like I said, we committed to it, and we started to like it. So
I hope you like it by now.
sometimes no. It's actually like ridiculous, and we were just talking about on the way here, we're like not very corny people, but when we talk about liking wedding photography, like I kind of make myself want to vomit because it comes out sounding corny no matter how I say it. So I'm not gonna
That's
bother.
super funny because that's the way I am, like in my emails with clients and stuff like that. And then like the way I'll read it back and be like, I would never say this, but like,
But you
I
literally
do.
just did.
But like, yeah, like if you were to, I don't know, you show me like the most beautiful thing in the world and ask me like, what do you think of that? I'll be like, oh, it's cool.
All
But
right,
like
so
writing wise, it's like
the flip.
The
What
flip.
happened? I'm
And
like,
there was more.
there's so
Okay.
much tension here. I need to
Okay,
know.
It's building.
All right. Well, okay, so I'll try to speed it up. So yada yada yada. So we're looking for photographers to just assist. Message James Webb, actually. So shout out to James
She-
Webb. I stalked people on Facebook.
I went on Facebook and typed in New Jersey photographers.
That was pretty
James
similar
Webb.
to one of our last guests had
Yep.
a similar experience.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm not looking for anybody right now, but let me add you to this cool group called Speakeasy, and there's always people looking there. And literally, like that group changed everything for us. We started networking, meeting people, and literally one day I was doing nothing. Julie was somewhere, I don't know. And I just put out a message saying,
Off philandering somewhere, I'm sure.
She was gallivanting.
And I was like-
Gallivanting, that's it.
I'm like, can I literally just tag along to a wedding with somebody or do something? And Andy Leidick actually messaged me, and it was Ted's wedding.
Yeah. And you
Funny
Oh, and
enough.
I was there. I was
And
there.
Tommy
I was not there.
Me
And
either.
Mike
his
wasn't
were-
there.
Oh.
Mike was
This is
not
like
there.
Wizard of
Completely
Almost.
unplanned, by the way, before this
Yeah.
show.
I didn't
Whatever
realize that was
we're
your
doing
first
now.
thing.
I don't know
Yeah,
why I'm
that's
making
awesome.
this circle motion in the air, but
That's cool.
yeah, and that was my first time ever working a wedding with other photographers. Like it was
Or in
cool. You
general.
just in general. And
That was actually the first wedding I've ever been to.
like that.
She
Like
just
Work-
said three
working
others.
with other photographers.
So anyway, and then from there, it just turned over, because then I felt like, oh, I actually like kind of, I'm getting to know people. And then from there, now that Andy knew us, he ended up offering us a mentorship. And we ended up, Andy, like I keep mentioning, he's, him and his wife, Abby, are Abigail Ginger Ale Photography.
Okay.
And they really put a lot into us, mentoring us. And like the things we decided, like, you know what, there's a million other O Snaps out there. We rebranded completely. We were like, we need to change this. Like, we can't be this, like, we don't want to be like everybody else. You Google it, you're coming up with like a million things. It's kind of a lame name anyway. It was Julie's idea.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
We actually.
Oh, look at what he did there. You see what Ted did there? He used the name. And he said it.
We
He
had
said, "Oh,
something
snap."
super similar. I'm not going to say what the names were because it'll give away the other company. But we had a different name. And we had to change it because the other company was getting such bad reviews.
Really?
That people were starting to confuse us with it. And we were losing out on... we lost a friend's wedding. And they were like, oh, we saw all these bad reviews. Like, oh, that's not us.
And bad videos.
Yeah, so we had
was
a very
crazy.
similar... And then it was like everything exploded after that. So it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, like it went up in flames and we're out of business.
Like, for the insurance
And
money.
that's why you're doing podcasts.
And now the podcast starts.
This is all we could afford was some podcast equipment.
So now you guys love weddings. What do you love about the weddings? Like, what's one of your favorite things to do on a wedding day?
Favorite things.
I love to just be able to, as cheesy as it sounds, like capture those memories. And
Yep, pretty cheesy. No.
yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty.
But we've had people say like it's awesome that you capture all these memories for us because we don't realize that some of these things are going on. So yeah, that's
And I'm
like
sure
one of the
to get to
biggest-
do that together is awesome.
Yeah, no. I love wiggling my butt on the dance floor. Julie, I actually really love like brushing against Julie while I do it and making her feel really awkward in
That's
front
awesome.
of all the guests.
Ted likes
But,
to do
um,
that. Not
yeah.
to Julie, but just in
Tommy.
general.
It's a time.
Oh, I've worked with Ted at weddings before.
Our logo is inspired by Ted on the dance floor, shaking, wearing a panda head.
Fact.
That was a fun night.
I've seen photos.
Yikes.
The video's
There's
great.
a video of
And
it.
video.
Yeah.
That's
But-
awesome. All right, so here's the big question. Wedding bucket list. If you had one thing on your bucket list,
Or like a place. you
like a
could
place,
choose,
a thing to shoot, a type of wedding, a place, also a place.
and maybe a place.
Definitely.
Is there a place?
Or a
If there's
Sony
a place,
camera.
just say a place.
Other
Yeah.
buzzwords.
If you had a specific camera that you want to get, like your holy grail camera, whatever, something that's on your bucket list having to do with your business.
Something that was, which is actually we're gonna be able to cross off this year, is shooting at the venue we're getting married at.
Oh, okay, nice. Where's that?
Crystal Point
Okay,
in Point
awesome.
Pleasant.
Nice.
We actually just booked a couple last night. They're awesome, and it's just that was
Is it before your wedding or after your wedding?
after.
Oh, nice. So you get to go back and get some food again and like hang out.
Yeah.
That's
Like, hey,
awesome.
what's up? But
That's one thing I was always bummed about is never getting to shoot at where I got married because it's like way up north and we're kind of, I mean, we're all over the place, but more in as far as New Jersey goes, in like the South New Jersey and the shore area. But yeah, I'm dying to go back there just to like do the food and all that stuff again. This was amazing.
We shoot where I got married all the time.
Yeah,
Like, they don't remember me.
yeah, they're low touch.
Oh,
low
we've
touch.
made ourselves really known by our venue,
That's
and
awesome.
like to the point where they like I just message them and not annoy them.
it's possible.
I probably annoy them, but I act. She's really friendly with me, and like we reached out with like a deal for some of the couples there.
But dude, it's been so great talking to you guys.
Yeah.
as well.
That's fantastic. It's a really interesting perspective again as a couple doing wedding photography, and then having to having the knowledge and the foresight to make that choice to rebrand once you went into it. I mean that's huge. That's huge, and like Mike said, we had to do the same thing, not for the same reasons. It was for something a little different. But that can be a big live or die moment for a company, a successful rebrand.
Oh yeah.
And knowing when to do it and not doing it can also be the death of a company. So, really, really great to hear from you guys. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
What do you think?
If you want to connect with you guys, can you tell us your website name and some of your social media tags?
Yeah, like if you're on the Twittersphere or
The Twitter,
the gram of
Or-
Insta,
The Instagram.
the Book of Face.
Yeah, the Book of the Face.
I love the Book of the Face.
Yeah, you know ours. Yeah, we're at kitandbug.com.
Sweet.
Kit and Bug.
How do you spell that?
KIT and AND. In case you didn't know how to spell that.
Spell that.
All that.
is
and
good.
bugbug.com. And
Nice.
then Instagram's Kit+Bug Photo. And I believe Facebook is also Kit+Bug Photo.
Nice.
Sounds good to me.
I applaud you for using the spelling of and not an ampersand, which is the lazy man's and.
But you can't use that on Instagram.
You just offended half of our
I was
listeners.
just making a joke, man. All right, calm down. All right, guys, it's been so awesome having you here.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
And we'll talk to you later.
Sounds good.
Do we clap
Alright.
now? Do we clap? Like,
What do we do with our
Fantastic.
hands?
Do the squid noise.
Awesome.
Oh my god, I can't.